Hello, hello, I'm Tanya Dalton, owner of Inkwell Press and host of Productivity Paradox. And I want to talk to you about happiness. Happiness and productivity have a lot to do with one another because when we're living a productive life, when we're not trying to do more but really do what's most important, our ultimate goal is happiness. And so that's what I want to talk to you about today. I want to talk about changing your mindset to achieve happiness. And at the end of this video, I have 5 ways that we can really start shifting that mindset. I have new videos every Tuesday, so make sure you hit subscribe before we get started. Changing our mindset for the better means changing the stories that we tell ourselves. We all have these stories that we tell ourselves in order to process the events and experiences in our lives. When we understand our stories, we feel a little bit more in control. It strengthens up that internal locus of control that makes us feel a little more in charge of our lives, that we can make choices and the decisions we make really do affect us in a positive way. And this is what's key because building up resilience really helps build up your happiness. Understanding that you have the ability to overcome things outside of your control really goes far in helping you achieve happiness. Developmental psychologist Emmy Werner did a study over the course of 32 years where she studied about 700 children. She identified 1/3 of them as being at risk due to their unstable living environments. Well, over the course of the 32 years, 1/3 of those children who were identified as at risk actually flourished. They changed their lives around and grew these beautiful lives for themselves. So when she went to understand how they did this, she found that they all had this strong internal locus of control. They felt that even though their life experiences were difficult, they had choices and they had some control in their day. George Bonanno, a clinical psychologist, studied resilience for about 25 years. And he found that there are people who have a better ability to handle adversity than others because it's all about perception. It's really how we perceive the experiences and the events that happen to us. Do you see them as negative and traumatic, or do you view things as opportunities? You see, trauma resides in the emotional construction of events. It's how we perceive it, not the event ourselves, but our processing of the event. And so we can really train ourselves to look at things that happen to us, even things that feel not so positive, and turn those on their head so we can see them as positives, as opportunities for growth. The opposite holds true too, though. We can turn mountains into molehills or molehills into mountains, right? We can negatively affect the way that we view the world in the same way we positively can. So we want to take control of our stories. We want to understand what are these things we're telling ourselves. Let's change the way that we view our experiences and change the way that we feel. Our words have enormous power. Think about how a kind word from a stranger can absolutely make your day, or a cutting remark can do just the opposite and ruin our time, right? Words have the ability and the power to inspire or to crush. So we really want to think about how we're using our words in our heads, how we're phrasing our stories and these things that we're telling ourselves. So I have a question for you, and I'd love for you to comment below. Do you have a story that you tell yourself? Now, if you're not sure if you do have a story or not, I have 5 different stories that many of us tell ourselves. And let's go through those now, because if we understand our stories, we can shift our mindset. Story number 1 is stuck in a rut. And this story always speaks in absolutes. It uses words like always and never. It sounds like I always fail tests or I never come in first, right? It's these absolutes that you believe that the way that the world works is already set for you, that you're stuck in this rut. This is a little bit of that learned helplessness, that things are the way they are and there's nothing you can do about it. When really, we have choices. We can change the way these stories talk to us. We can change the way that we view this. When we don't do well, instead we could say, I messed up this time. Next time I will do something else. And then think about how you can grow from this opportunity. That will really make a difference in this story. Stop telling yourself in absolutes, I never or I always, and instead look at opportunities as chances for growth and chances for you to flourish. Story number 2, my work isn't that great. And you know what this sounds like? It sounds like when someone gives you a compliment and you say, it was nothing. We all love to be complimented, whether we want to admit it or not. We're always seeking others' approval. And when people give us compliments or these kind words, we brush them off and we pretend like it's okay, it really wasn't that big of a deal. Accept credit when credit is due. Graciously say thank you and really receive the compliment. I think that really makes a difference in you understanding that you are worthy of these compliments. Story number 3 is life is unfair. It may sound like everyone else has a job they love, or everybody else is pregnant. I'm the only one who's not. I know that from my own experiences. Having dealt with infertility, I felt like I looked around and everybody was pregnant, right? Have you ever experienced that where you look around and everyone seems to have whatever it is that you're wanting? That's called frequency illusion, and it's not uncommon. Everyone experiences that. It's when there's something in your mind that you're thinking about and suddenly it pops up everywhere. That's because our brain is actually scanning for that thing. It's this mental filter of what's important, and your brain starts spying it and picking it out of your everyday places. So I want you to realize that's a real thing, and that doesn't mean that everybody else has it. The way that we can look at this is we can look at the differences that everybody has. Everyone is different. We all have different strengths, different experiences, different weaknesses, and different things that put us at an advantage. And that difference is a beautiful thing. Differences should be celebrated. So start to realize that you are different from everybody else, and that is a positive. Story number 4 is happiness is just around the corner. That sounds like once I lose 10 pounds, I'll be happy. Or after my promotion, everything will be better. That's just delaying happiness. The problem is, it's always a moving target. Once you lose the 10 pounds, you think, once I lose 10 more, then I'll be happy. Once I lose 10 more after that, I'll be happy. We have to take the time and celebrate when we reach milestones. We have to take the time to reward ourselves for the work that we've done, even if they are small steps. So instead of just saying, once I've done this, I will feel happy, start to think, since I have done this, I am happy. Think about the things you have accomplished. Think about the things that you have done in your life. Celebrate those and take a few minutes to enjoy that happiness. Story number 5, I just can't. This maybe sounds like, I don't know how. I just can't do this, or I don't know where to start. My solution? Yes, you can. You really can. Our lives go through these ebbs and flows, these peaks and valleys. If you take the time to map out your life and where you have been, you'll see you've had highs and you've had lows. And the problem is, when we're in these lows, sometimes it feels so deep we can't see our way out. But really, if you take a look at the path your life has been on so far, every time you've been on a valley, you've made it back out, haven't you? You've come this far and you can do it again. And if you feel like you can't because you just don't know how, ask. Reach out a hand, ask for help. Asking for help is not a weakness. It's actually a strength in admitting that you don't know. So I would encourage you to turn that story on its head. And I would encourage you to turn all of these stories on their heads. You see, a lot of times these stories are being told by that inner critic inside of our heads. You know, the one that we talked about a few videos ago, who likes to talk really loudly and tell us all the things that we're doing wrong. We can shift our perspective and we can quiet down that inner critic. We can change these stories we tell ourselves. If you'd like to learn more about this, I would encourage you to listen to my podcast, number 80, on shifting your perspective. I'll have a link down below so you can access that, as well as several blog posts. If you enjoyed hearing about these different stories, I would encourage you to comment below and tell me, did one of these stories resonate with you as the story you tell yourself, or do you tell yourself a different one? Don't forget to comment below. Hit the thumbs up button to show me that you like this video, and make sure to subscribe. We'll be talking about happiness for several more weeks, and I'll be creating a playlist specifically about this so you can check out and go even deeper. All right, until next Tuesday, have a beautiful and productive week.